I'm Erwin Redl, and I'm a light artist, installation artist, multimedia artist. Partially by osmosis in a way, because I grew up as a furniture maker because my father had a furniture company. But then through, a cat has 7 lives, I had already 7, I guess. Through, music, computer programming, I did multimedia. And then the LEDs fell into my lap in the early 90s. So I just started building circuits from the scratch, programming them with little, microcontrollers. And then it just got bigger, and it's still getting bigger sometimes. Yeah. Overall, I would say the project White Out at Madison Square Park in New York City in 2017. I put 900 basically pendants that was a single light fixture, custom-made light fixture that looked like a big bobber, a fishing bobber. And there was a white light cast into a sphere of polyurethane. And the bottom half of the sphere is clear, so it shines down, and the top is opaque, so it covers it, so there's no glare for the people. And it just illuminated the lawn, but they were hanging from 12-foot-long pendants, just a very thin cable. And so the wind just animated them in very natural waves, but I could program them as well. So whatever I programmed was always like a counterpoint to the natural movement that was through the wind. It got people in a different set of contemplation, which is very hard to achieve in New York. And that's my idea. My work is in general very contemplative. It's kind of the opposite from like a nightclub aesthetic that some light artists use, but I'm on the very, very slow end of that movement. And so this interaction of like nature, the urban environment, and technology, it's this hybrid home, was absolutely fascinating to me. Because I need to add that everything I do is custom manufactured, mostly in my shop, or at least assembled in my shop. And so making everything outdoor proof in New York environment, where you have to think from pigeons to vandalism to snow, winds, high winds, rain, and everything else you can imagine. And it was rock solid. Nothing happened. It's a by definition a big part of it, in both ways, in good ways and in kind of, let's call it ridiculous, don't get me wrong, I'll explain why. Number one, of course, if you work with LEDs, you're already on the do-gooder side because it's very low impact. I'm more on the less is more part of the spectrum, and that's where I leave it. But then also, that's where the ridiculous part comes in. After that big, or during that big installation in Madison Square Park, I got an email from a lady basically asking me, why am I doing that? I'm polluting the night, And literally, every car that drives by at night emits more lumen than my little chintzy 900 LEDs do, That's also the idea with sustainability and everything. 1,000% I'm behind it. But we also have to keep that window open to being wasteful. What I still would love to have is basically a fabric that is not just a fabric, but it can bend in 3D. If you could basically infuse magic phosphor into rubber or something, because then you could think about the possibility of like blow-up sculptures or like wearable. It all exists basically on an experimental level, but you have to be a very good technologist to use it, and then on a large scale, forget about it. Those are a couple of things that I dream about. But it's also it falls in the category of waste, because like, why would you do that? It's like, because I think it's great. I have very little interest. I mean, I have interest as in, curiosity. In the beginning, 30, 40 years when I started, I tried to be like on the bleeding edge of things. Right now, I don't care about it. Also, it's extremely wasteful. I mean, the computational power that you need for AI it makes crypto green, compared to it. So they are now building all those server farms just to cater to the AI community, and then they drive the Prius, and I do have a Prius, but it's like, you could have the worst SUV. Your AI is worse than the SUV. So it's like we need to, as a society, set our priorities. And I just don't use our AI because I don't need it. I'm interested, but I don't have time to explore it. So it's like the less people that use it, the better. I mean, from all points of view.